What's up, everyone? Welcome to Purchase Corner. I got Travis Ridgen here. Huge goalie, 6'5". This guy's a monster right now. He's playing for the Summit City Distillers. He's actually had a pretty travel career. He's been in Sweden, played a couple years there, kind of bounced around a little bit in the Fed as well. So you're definitely making your way. You're following your dreams. I absolutely love the passion that you bring. You have a great channel. Trav, you can find him on YouTube, and then he also does Slangin The Bizkit with Dave Wheeler, which is a great show. Dave's got an amazing radio voice that I absolutely love. He seems like a fun guy to work with and do the podcast with. So how's that been going for you guys so far?
It's great, dude. Dave's a real beauty. We actually we did a bit of a boys trip this summer. Went down to Saskatoon for like 4 days. We went golfing, had lots of coffee, lots of man talk and whatnot. So it's cool. We actually have a couple more trips planned this summer for Montreal, Prince of Wales, and Waterton Lakes, just on the edge of Glacier National Park by Wyoming.
Yeah,
we got lots of stuff planned. We're going to be doing a train trip together. He's got an amazing voice. He's an amazing radio guy, amazing co-host. He's an even better friend, good husband, good father, and I don't know what I'd do without him. To be honest with you, it's kind of weird to picture my life without him. Now that I'm thinking about it as we're chatting.
Yeah, you guys have really good chemistry on that podcast, like really good chemistry, and I love that. The show yesterday was really good. You guys touched on. I love that he came up with the goalie how. That really stuck out to me big time, and I love how you kind of explained it. So, you were kind of peppered with some shots, 67 shots. You had 60 saves. You had an assist. You had a fight. Got a little chippy. I like seeing that in a goaltender. If someone comes in your space, you have to defend it, and you're a monster out there compared to your defenders from what I can see. So I love that you get a little bit of, got a little grit to your game, and hopefully that keeps people out of the paint for you, knowing that like they can't mess with you.
I hope so. It's interesting too, because like I've always been the biggest guy on basically any team I've ever played on, within with a few exceptions. It doesn't necessarily translate into being tough by any means, just because the way being a goalie is built. Like you have this massive Michelin man suit that doesn't really endear yourself to being very mobile, and then your skates are made for being moved around. So like when somebody shakes a goalie, it's very easy to move them around just based on the way the skates are. Compared to like forwards, just they go north south, we go east west, which just part of the game, not a flaw. It's just a feature of the game. So
sure. Yeah, I noticed that you were still using goalie skates, where a lot of goalies seem to have transitioned into more of a player type skate. Is that something you kind of tried, in your career being a goalie, or do you just prefer to kind of go with the old school goalie skates for like you said, kind of just better shifting back and forth? Is it easier in that aspect?
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those interesting things where when I was growing up, I like to try a lot of things, but with hockey being so expensive, you're kind of limited on what you can and can't try. Because I mean, when I try things, I try things. I try anything and everything. And so like if you're breaking sticks, breaking skates, trying to like play around with them and whatnot, obviously sticks are $300-400, skates are $1,000. So you're not going to be trying too much. But with YouTube, becoming my full-time thing, that's all I've done for money since like 2018-ish. It's opened up a whole new world of opportunities where I can spend money on stuff, and then I can go and break it or play around with it, and hopefully it doesn't break, but it could break. And then, well, whatever, I'm out of stick. I just made a new cool video. So, like for example, I'd never seen anybody do it before, but like shaving down your sticks in like a honeycomb shape. I saw Sergei Bobrovsky do that, but I never saw anybody else do that. So I started doing that. I thought, this is awesome. I don't know why nobody's doing it. I understand people are scared of taking a saw to a $400 stick, but it worked for me. And then having the money to be able to get different skates, try certain things on. I found for me, I like the old school style of skate better. Keep my nose before I had both hips done. So I might be time to try something new, because I haven't tried anything new skate wise in like 2 or 3 years ish. So yeah, I love trying new things, not just in hockey, but in all realms.
Yeah, no, and you can tell that kind of, from your journey, especially on your main channel, that you don't do the podcast on. I've really kind of seen you travel the world so far. And you're from Winnipeg originally, correct?
Yes, sir. Born and raised. Very proudly Winnipeg.
That's awesome. Now, I know it says Trav for Oilers, but like, is there a split there? Like, what do we got going on here? Oilers, Jets, like, what are we thinking?
So I've told the story many times before, so forgive me if you heard it, but when I made the YouTube channel, There was no Jets. The Jets weren't back. I just made a YouTube channel, and I needed a username so I can comment on videos. There was no intention of making videos, so I thought, well, I've always cheered for the Oilers since I was a kid, so we'll just try for Oilers. Makes sense. Funny enough, like 2 years later, the Jets come back, so kind of a conflict of interest there. But I always loved the Oilers when I was growing up, but being born and raised in Winnipeg, especially now, like whenever I leave Winnipeg, I become intoxicatingly patriotically Winnipeg. When I go back to Winnipeg, I'm not so patriotically about it. But I would say I'm definitely a Jets fan if there was a team to pick.
And they're on a roll right now. Hellebuck is playing amazing. It's a good team. It's a good team from first line to fourth line. I think they really haven't missed a beat, from last year. I know they got kicked out kind of early. I actually thought they were going to go a little bit further than what they went, but they've really shown the league that they're someone to contend with, and Perfetti's been playing really well. And it's an exciting team. I'm sure back home, everyone's going crazy for the start that they've had.
Yeah, Dave was all in on them last year. I remember we did multiple clips on the show where he was like, so this is the year. We have the goaltending, we have the players, we have this, we have that. I was in 5 games, and the amount of messages. So Dave doesn't have any social media, by the way. So whenever you message the podcast account, it's me responding to you. So I'm getting all these messages like, you suck, you jinxed us. I'm like, bro, I didn't say shit. That was Dave, not me. So I got to deal with the mob for him. But he's in on the Jets again this year, and I'm not too far behind. So hopefully there's a good run to be made. Hoping to make it out to a game sometime this year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, since you're so close to Detroit, depending on how long you stay before you get, called up to the Fed, I mean, you could always catch him at Little Caesars Arena. Although I'm a huge Joe Louis guy. I've been to Little Caesars. Just the upper part of the stadium just seems to kind of look, I don't know how to describe it, Travis. It's more like it's very steep. Whereas like JLA was just a nice, even kind of loop up. And I thought that was a little bit better to see a game, to be honest with you. Because I'm only about 35 minutes from the arena. So it's definitely, something I've been trying to take my kids to. I have 5 little ones. So to take them to a game, I think would be really awesome. And because, I remember going to the Windsor Arena, and like that was like the NHL for me, seeing those guys, and got a chance to skate with like Matt Cook and DJ Smith at like a open skate. And that's when they were, they would have been maybe 16, 17 years old at the time. I'm a little bit older than you, so this is kind of dating myself on when they when they actually played. But I kind of, brought up some of your stats, well, not stats, but just your
they're not
kind of
great, so maybe don't bring them up. But
no, not so much stats, but more your playing career. I know that you had started pretty young. You weren't a goaltender at first, from an article that I saw, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on this article, but sounded like you kind of started, as a forward and then transitioned into goaltending around 10 years old, give or take. So okay. So, all right. So the stuff I found was correct, which is awesome to see. And then you kind of worked your way up. It's, I know that you had played, let's see, Dakota Collegiate,
the
Lundar Falcons, Arborg Ice Dogs, Vancouver Island University, where you're studying business, which is awesome. I wonder why you're so good at like doing the ads and promoting yourself, which is huge when you're doing
YouTube. Sorry to cut you off, dude.
No, you're good.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. I didn't learn sweet F all when I was at VIU or even at Red River College in Winnipeg. Dude, I learned more on YouTube University, Googling things like how to do things properly, than I did in university. Now, I'm very fortunate. I didn't have to pay for school. It was all taken care of through a sponsorship. But I would have been so pissed at myself if I had to pay for that, because I learned nothing the entire time I was there.
Hey, at least you had fun with it, right? I mean, was it a good time at least?
Actually, sorry, I was mistaken. I did learn one thing. I did 2 accounting classes, and one of them, you had to make like a fake company. Like, hey, you're gonna make a company, and then do like accounts payable, accounts receivable, and just do like a whole sheet, your balance sheets. And I did it on a snowblowing company, and so I thought snowblowing would be the thing to do. It's winter, right? Being born and raised in Winnipeg. The professor put everything up on the projector one day and was like, "Who did the snowblowing company?" I was like, "Me." He's like, "Fella, it hasn't snowed here in 4 years. Pick something else." Funny enough, we had a blizzard like 2 weeks later. That's the only thing I learned. It didn't snow, snowblowers are a waste of money and a waste of investment in Vancouver Island, and it snowed 2 weeks later.
Wow. That's kind of like here in Michigan. It really hasn't snowed a ton. You'll find that out this coming winter, depending on how long you stay in Indiana. It really hasn't snowed a lot in this area.
I have an interesting setup over here too, because it's not like when I was in Detroit 2 years ago in Motor City, where we're practicing 5 days a week. We, every single weekend we're on the road. I have a pretty flexible schedule over here. Like we'll play on a Friday, maybe Friday, Saturday, maybe Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Sunday, whatever the combination is. Maybe we get a week off. Maybe we have 2 weeks off. We practice 1 to 2 days a week. If I need time off to go do some business or do some traveling, I'm more than allowed to. You just, hey, I'm taking off. See you later. I'll, like come and go as you please, which is totally different from, in years past. So I'm excited to kind of get out there and do some stuff. Like I'll be in Montreal beginning of February, which I'm excited for. I think they'll be right around the Four Nations face-off.
Okay.
Beginning of February. I'm hoping to catch a Jets game around then. I think they're playing Carolina, which I'll be really, really excited to see.
That'd be a great game.
Yeah, especially in the Jets barn. You mentioned the egg shape versus the oval shape. I noticed that as well going to other arenas. All arenas can be like super steep, and when you're in the upper deck, it's very hard to see the details of the game. But in Winnipeg at MTS Center, Bell MTS Place, Canada Life Center, whatever they're calling it now, it's so ovular and it's great. I think the upper deck might be the best seat in the house. It's the cheapest seat in the house. You can see everything from a bird's eye view. I enjoyed it a lot. I think they have one of the best setups in the league. I know they changed the lounge or the loge seating a year or two ago, where it's kind of a little bit messy, where part of the view is blocked off. I don't know if they fixed that or not, but from what I know, they got a good setup.
Looks like a good building to go see a game in. I've been to Edmonton, where I was at their old arena before they went over to Rogers, and weird setup there too. Like the columns in between all the way around, where it just seemed like really tight. And I was in the upper bowl and I saw the Red Wings play Edmonton, and it was a blast though to be able to go somewhere else, see a game. I've been to Winter Classic in Chicago and Winter Classic at Michigan Stadium, which was amazing. It's always fun to kind of go somewhere else and see a game, especially when you love the sport so much. It's nice to see it outside too. I was kind of going through the list. I know you had played in Sweden for a couple years, and like I said, I've seen kind of your travels, on your website, and you have been traveling a lot in the last couple years. And one, I think that's an amazing opportunity for yourself, not only to see what the different leagues are like, but then to get yourself kind of noticed maybe through, some other scouts or some other teams, and get you solidified here. What's that kind of been like for you, doing all this traveling? It's great for your channel, obviously. So that's a huge bonus, but what's that been like, I guess, personally, and as you've been in kind of this growth? I mean, you're still young, man. Like, you got a ton of playing time left, I think.
Yeah, I think I have less playing time than I'd like to admit publicly, just because at 28 years old, 2 hip surgeries later in life, 28 is pretty young. But in goaltending, dude, that's up there. Like if you look at the age of the average pro goalie, and I'm not talking about like the Fleuries and the Mike Smiths of the world. Like I'm talking like the minor pro ranks. You'll be very lucky to find many guys over 30. Not many play over 30, just because it's very hard. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart by any means. With the adversity you face and the lifestyle you live, also like bouncing around, being treated like shit here, maybe you get treated well over there, but then you're back to getting treated like shit. You're up, you're down. It's super unstable. It's hard to maintain relationships. It's hard to maintain business. It's hard to do a lot of things under those circumstances, which, like I said, not for the faint of heart, but I love a challenge, to be honest with you. And I get a lot of my fulfillment out of feeling like I'm accomplishing something. I'm very achievement based. And whether it's, coming to Indiana saying, okay, I'm going to go try to play for the team. I'm going to try to make some cool videos. I'm going to work on the podcast. I'm going to go travel, make a cool video. I'm going to conquer this, conquer that. I want to make X amount of dollars. I want to get X amount of followers. I want to, whatever the vision is, those achievements are what fuel me and they keep me busy on a day-to-day basis. And I've really simplified my life to the point where I don't really need a whole lot. As long as I have access to a gym, clean drinking water, fresh air in my lungs, a rink, and or some camera and internet access, I can pretty much do almost anything.
What's keeping you going right now? I love that you're following your dreams and you're staying passionate about it. And I know that you being kind of in the heart of, the Federal League, that, an opportunity could present itself where you can go back and play. What ultimately keeps you going and kind of chasing your dream of being a professional goalie?
Yeah, two trains of thoughts on that. One, I'm kind of in a load of a mental battle right now. There's the ego side that wants to go back, to play in the Fed, prove that I can play, to put up numbers, because it is, honest to God, I think the hardest league in the world to play in, just because there's no incentives for defense. All the money is in scoring. If you score, you get called up. If you put up points, you get called up. You play good defense, nobody cares, especially as a goaltender. I mean, you look at in the Fed the last couple of years, you have guys that have played in the U.S. National Development Program. You have guys that have played NCAA Division I, the USHL, the Western Hockey League, that are getting torched for 6, 8, 10 goals a game consistently. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's not a goaltender's best friend, to put it nicely. So I have a very healthy dose of ego, and I'm very aware of it. And that does make me want to play and compete and prove people wrong, and also prove to myself that I can get it done. And also, and this is, I guess, kind of one of the reasons that keeps me going, is to prove that, one day when I do have kids and I have a family or whatnot, I can point back to certain videos or certain experiences and say, listen, I did it. I did the work. I got it done. I made it through when it was hard to do. It wasn't easy, but I made it through, and I got shit done. Life isn't easy. It's never going to be easy. It's never going to be blueberries and paper airplanes. If you want to be, in the case of the son, you want to be a good man, you got to go through some shit. Nobody respects the dude that's had an easy life. When you go through hard shit, that's when you develop. That's when the most amount of growth happens. And I think it's a universal truth, specifically for men, because obviously I'm not a woman, at least I don't think. But yeah, so that's a big thing. Also, family legacy as well. I feel inside of me that I owe something to my ancestors, right? So, for example, my mom's dad, he fought in WW2. He's dodging bombs, trying not to get nuked, get shot, and he did all that just so that he can have my mom, who then could have me.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to just sit around and do nothing is, I think, disrespectall to him for the sacrifices that he made. And on my dad's side as well, the family that survived, smallpox, they survived the plague, the Great Depression, all these horrible things where if you didn't, lose your eyesight at 13 years old to, gangrene, or lose your foot to a tooth infection because of all the ridiculous things that happened back then, that was a win. And so to be here and say, listen, I get to travel the world, I get to play hockey, I get to share all these cool ideas and be creative and share it with the people that I love, you don't have the right to complain. So shut up, be happy, and make the most of it, make them proud so that they can say all the sacrifices that they made were worth it. And then hopefully one day when I have kids or whatnot, they'll be able to say, okay, I'm going to go make dad proud. I'm going to go do the same things that he did and honor his legacy, and that they do even better than I did, so that people will remember me forever for how great they were, which is, I think, the ultimate compliment you can get.
Yeah, I love that insight. I think that's huge. I kind of align with you on that when you really think about what all of our ancestors went through, and you even said it best, not even, Black Plague, smallpox, and we're here, Travis. Like our ancestors made it through all that, and we're here, and I had a great uncle, fought in World War II, and, grew up down the street from him, back home in Windsor, and true hero, bravery. These guys were kids, some of them, 16, 17 enrolling. They would go into the enrollment office. Hey, how old are you? Oh, I'm 16. Okay, go back out and have a birthday. Come back in, sign up, register. And now they're going over. It's really incredible what a lot of our ancestors have went through. But I love that. You're right. As you find your way in life, and you end up getting married and having kids. It's something that you can pass down to your kids. I think it's huge, and they see that their dad worked really hard to get there. Because one thing, and we all deal with this in life, and the haters and stuff. So one of my questions is going to be how you ignore the noise, because it's so funny to me that you get a lot of negative comments, and it's like, well, what are you doing with your life where this guy, listen, I've seen you practice with your goalie coach year in, year out, putting in the work in, and while you were still dealing with your hip issues, now hopefully those are resolved. Like I said, I thought you looked faster in the game I was watching, because I watched your main channel to watch all the clips. I thought you looked faster. I thought you looked dialed in. Get peppered with 67 shots and you're saving 60. I mean, come on, that's not an easy night for you, right? So
I mean, I'll be honest with you, dude. Like, I was only at that point, I'm only 5.5 months post surgery, and they say you're not close to 100% until 6 months. Like, you shouldn't be playing games before 6 months. So I think at one point they had me 1 goal on 40 shots. I'm like, man, I'm feeling pretty good. And the hips started getting really tight, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this ain't great, but still, I mean, 7 goals on 67 shots. I'll take that. That's good on the win as well. But yeah,
yeah, you were looking good, man. Like I said, you were looking real good, and that's the one thing I couldn't understand. Is not that it matters what I think anyone else says in your comments, but it's like I was just thinking to myself, like, well, like, are you trying to do this? What are you pursuing that you are passionate about, that you love? It's easy to criticize someone, from one end, and instead of being a screen troll, basically, and saying whatever you want, but you're putting in the work. You have a determination that you can really tell about yourself, not only with your main channel, but obviously with the podcast with Dave. You guys are killing it there. And so that's something that you should be proud of too, because you have a growing podcast, which is really fun to listen to. It's on all sorts of different topics. Yeah, you talk about hockey, baseball, whatever.
A little politics too.
Yeah, a little politics, yeah, towards the end. Yeah, you're right.
I'm trying to get better at keeping that towards the end, just so that we're not blasting the first couple of seconds. But
for sure.
Yeah,
getting everyone.
Yeah, if you listen to the first 3-4 minutes, you'll be like, whoa, I don't know if I want to listen to the next 50 minutes, but we try to keep that towards the end. But as far as what you mentioned about dealing with negativity, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, but one of my really good friends is Matt Murray. And one of the quotes that he left me, and I'll never forget the day that it came out of his mouth, where we were when he said it, but he said, those that mind don't matter, and those that don't mind matter. So keep that front in mind. Because I've never been disrespected by somebody that was better than me. I've never in my life had somebody ever talk shit to my face, tell me that I'm a terrible goalie, tell me that my videos, my podcast sucks, from somebody that was doing better than me. It's only people that go below. Hate only comes from below you on the ladder coming up, not people dropping it down, because they're ahead of you. They don't have to look back, right? So, which is also cool too, because like I'll message guys that are playing the NHL. They'll say, "Hey, dude, I listened to the podcast. It was great video. Keep going, keep it up. Please don't stop." You won't see them commenting, obviously, because they got better things to do. But stuff like that, it means a lot that we have the mutual respect. And I would also not disrespect them publicly. That's one thing I've tried to get better at on the show is like I swear, we're like the anti-Stuart Skinner podcast, but not by design. But even like when I try to critique him, I try to be as professional as I can, because let's say like he was to come on the show one day. I don't want to be the guy that blasted him and I got to answer to the music of, hey, you want to say it to my face? Well, I said what I meant on the show. And if I'm going to say something, I want to say it to your face, right? Like you saw the video on Sunday. I've never been disrespected to my face ever. But then, that one guy comes up and says, hey, your show sucks. Well, you can't say that because Dave's going to watch this. So let's get it on, right?
Yeah. Well, he was in your face, bro. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I know they scored the goal, but he was like legit in your face screaming.
Yeah, he didn't even score the goal or have a point in the play. So
right. I was like, well, yeah, first of all, you're in my paint, bro. Like, this is crossing the line. You should know that, being a goaltender. I liked what you did. I thought you kind of the comments that that you had afterwards were, well, they wanted to suspend you 3 games and it was a $350 fine. You kind of came back at them, so you got 1 game suspension, which isn't terrible, and you couldn't come out of net, and a little fine. I mean, all right, I'll take that. I mean, for sticking up for myself, and I mean, you tower over your team. So, I mean, not saying that they're not going to do anything, because obviously we saw in the scrum that they were at least trying to help out and make sure, because that's really, you got to protect the goalie at all costs, is the way I look at it. And they're a no-go for messing with. I think everyone knows that in hockey. You just don't mess with the goalie. No, I thought it was a great game. And, like I said, I love your determination. I think it's easy to say, stuff that maybe if they've never played an athletic sport in their life and have no idea what it really takes to, be at the level you're at. And obviously I know you're not necessarily playing in the league you want to play in right now, but I have a feeling that you will, make it back to the Fed. Like I said, I think you look faster. I think you look stronger. And it is surprising that you said that it was only 5 months post surgery, because I thought you looked good, and you're constantly training for it. If anyone hasn't checked out Travis's channel, you should check it out, because this guy is a machine. He's constantly working with his goalie coach. He's constantly putting in the reps that it takes to get to a higher level. And I think that is awesome. You know, following your dream and your passion is kind of what this life is all about.
Well, and it's also a universal truth. If I could interject for a second, it's even though whatever, it's become kind of cool to hate me. It's almost like I've become the Nickelback of hockey, which in and of itself is, I think I call them, because I love Nickelback, by the way. I own every album they've ever had on CD. Fun fact for you. Half of them don't work because I played them so many times. But anyway, I digress. But it's a universal truth of I have a goal. I've had many goals. It's changed over the years. At first, it was I want to play junior hockey. I want to conquer junior hockey. Okay, I want to go play college hockey. Then, okay, I want to crack pro. Okay, well, I'm doing pro. I want to go make more money. I want to go play here, the YouTube channel, the podcast. I have things that I'm constantly working towards. And although the goals that I had when I started, it did change course over time, and it ended up in a different direction from what I originally planned. It's worked out. And if it's with you at your show, if it's, somebody in the comment section with the, card breaking guys, I think card breaking guys, if you want to be the best card breaking guy out there, you want to work construction, you want to be a great father, great mother, whatever you want to do, just go put your nose down and get the work done. And if you try over a long enough time period, it won't turn out exactly the way that you want. Likely, maybe it does, but you'll get a lot closer than what you would probably think otherwise. And it's a universal truth of we all have things we're trying to accomplish. Whatever it is, that's up to you.
Yeah, no, when I first started the channel, it was honestly just to show my buddy who's in the chat. His name's Paul, and he's a hockey player, and he's a really good hockey player too. He's playing more forward right now. He's in a couple beer leagues, and he's 6'3", 6'4", 220 pounds. I mean, he's a beast. He's the same age as me. I won't give our age away, but we're a little bit older than you, my friend. And he's a machine. He's got a wicked slap shot. Very talented hockey player. He's been playing since he was a kid. He grew up in Wawa, Ontario, and ended up in the States. That's why we're best friends. We've been best friends for 27 years, and we share that we're both Canadian. And we've been friends ever since. But he's always telling me how the night went. But I always try and encourage him. I'm like, hey man, you should try and get in a league. And I still think he can play. Like he's playing with young guys, like your guys' age and younger, and he's keeping up with them. Like he's a determined guy, and so I love that about him. Him and I both have the passion for hockey. He's much better. I'm terrible. I'm okay, I guess for what my skill, but no, I think it's great what you're doing. I think you shouldn't, it seems like you are ignoring the noise as much as possible, which is great. Keep doing you and obviously following your passion and your dream, because it's going to lead somewhere, whether it's after the fact. Because one of my questions that I was going to ask you is, at some point, and hopefully it's not anytime soon, Travis, because we want you to keep going for your dream. Do you think that when the time comes, when your playing career is, I guess, over, do you think that you'll become maybe a goalie coach and be a mentor for others, as you have received yourself in the last couple of years of being a goaltender? Do you find that to be a good challenge at that point when it comes? Do you think that's something that you'll do?
Believe it or not, it might be hard to believe. I don't really have the patience for a lot of kids these days. I've done goalie coaching in the past, and there's nothing more painful than working with a kid that doesn't want to be there, but their parents have dragged them to the rink, and you're trying to coach the kid and he doesn't want to listen because he doesn't want to be there. And then I end up ringing shots off his head for the next 30 minutes and just sniping barring and letting them know who won. And that's not productive for anybody. So I don't think I'm at a place where I want to do goalie coaching quite yet. I've actually already started the post-retirement process. If you had a chance to see over the summer, I did the series on the Grand Railway hotels, traveling across Canada, telling the story of the hotels, the cities, and our beautiful country. And I did 8 hotels last summer. I'll be doing 10 more this summer, which most of them were on my own dime last summer. This summer, a lot of them are working with me, which is fantastic. They a lot of the hotels originally told me, hey, this isn't something we're interested in. Wish you the best of luck. And now they're like, hey, that's actually a great idea. Why don't you come back this summer? So it's kind of cool how that works. But at the same time, I didn't have any product or any video to show at the time. But so that's something I want to do. I want to do, I'm very passionate about the culinary arts. I went to culinary school for a year, did my little apprenticeship on baking as well. I'd love to do something along the lines like a diners, drive-ins, and dives. Nowhere near as over the top or like frosted tips, like the Flaming Skull t-shirts, but just, hey, we're going to go behind the scenes with some cool restaurants, some cool cafes. I get in the bakery, I make the pastries, we get in the kitchen, we make the dishes, and just do a really cool Canadian package like that. Or the hotel stuff or the tourism or the history stuff. That's what I like to do. Most importantly, it's low mileage in the body, which is like the best part of all of it, especially with all the mileage I put on so far. So that's definitely a post-retirement thing that I'm working towards. I sadly have to admit to you that the end is coming a lot sooner than even I would like to admit, just because I'm getting older and that's just the way things are shaping up. But the podcast won't be ending anytime soon. That's something I love doing. I love talking about hockey. I love talking about sports. I love doing it in a non-mainstream way because I was talking with Wheels about this maybe like 2 weeks ago. I said, dude, every single sports show out there is slightly left-leaning or very left-leaning with all the programming because they're all under these big networks. And I said, there's no sports show that's just like, especially in the hockey realm, that's just right down the middle, even maybe slightly right of center, and just listen, I'm going to give you a great conversation. You make what you want of the conversation. I'm not going to come to try to bury anybody. I just want to be honest and genuine, most importantly, and speak universal truth of just pro common sense, because I think common sense is kind of lost in the world, especially in sports. And we'll talk about it, and then hopefully the people want to get on board with that. And so far it's going really well, especially since we started the podcast clips channel on YouTube. That's been taken off last little bit, which was totally Dave's idea. I never thought of that. What a genius idea that was. So that's kind of the plan with the travel stuff, the podcast full-time post-retirement, and seeing what else I can squeak out. Because I like to stay very busy. I don't function very well when I'm having too much free time in my hands. So getting in the gym, lots of coffee, lots of activities, lots of projects, lots of emails, lots of calls, lots of video, lots of editing. That's what keeps me going.
No, and you're doing great at it. I think that's an awesome thing that you're going to keep doing that. And I love the tour idea. I mean, especially if it's going to be back home in Canada. I mean, I think that's one thing that I enjoy is your passion for being Canadian and still Canadian. I feel the same way. I'm not American yet. I'm still a Canadian citizen, and I talk about it all the time. We get made fun of a little bit. At work or whatever. And what's so bad about Canadians? What? Because we're nice and we like hockey and good brew here or there. I'm like, we're good people. Go ahead and hate if you want, but I know it's all in love. And I kind of just started the journey just to rip some cards and show my buddy, and then kind of got the the workings of kind of doing a show, and then took a little bit of break while I had the last baby, and then kind of came back. And
congrats, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Number 5. And so I got 3 girls, 2 boys. Yeah. Busy.
So you need some more hobbies.
Yeah. Yeah. So I needed something, to kind of do for fun if I can get a free moment. And so this is what I wanted to do. It's something I've always wanted to do. I took radio and TV in high school and absolutely loved it. And, I work in sales. So I'm very comfortable talking to people. I typically don't get too shy over it. Obviously, it's a work in progress. You get better as you go, and it's still something I'm getting used to. But I love it. I've had Jeremy Lee on a couple of the Locked On shows, and I thought it'd be really cool to have a player on. I'm trying to get my wife's cousin on. He played as well, like I kind of mentioned. And
who else you trying to get on?
What's that?
Who else are you trying to get on? Any other names you're trying to get on right now?
Yeah, so I have tomorrow, I'm going to have the senior product manager for Upper Deck, because a lot of the guys that are in the chat right now are big collectors as well. They're all huge sports fans. A lot of the chat right now they're definitely into hockey. Barry's, into the Bruins. Hoser Cards is kind of split between LA and the Ducks. And Logan, we've had to give him a team. So since he's in Utah, we gave him the Utah Hockey Club. Swag's an Avalanche fan. Canadian Card Breakers, he's a Toronto fan, as am I, even though I grew up, liking the Red Wings. Robert, he'll have to put in who he likes. I know Sports Card Ripping Teacher is a Chicago fan. Lon Espinoza is an Avs fan. So we got a kind of a mix of everything, and everyone loves baseball, football. So they're huge sports fans. So they collect cards. So yeah, I've been trying to reach out to as many people as I can. When you have a smaller channel, it obviously can be difficult. Someone like you, who's got a pretty good following, and like my friend Hoser, who's got a separate channel, about 300,000 subs, it's a little bit easier to have some people on, but I'm trying my best. I shoot my shot. If they say no, it's okay. I just look at his next opportunity is kind of, I use my sales kind of background there, but I ask as many people as I can because I think this is fun. It's fun for me. I enjoy doing it. I love talking about hockey. I think it's the best. And so no one in particular. Like I said, I got him coming on tomorrow. I got Jess from Locked On Flames coming on next week. And then just kind of constantly reaching out to people and just shooting my shot. And I've tried to get some of the local teams like Locked On Wings, just to talk about Wings because I do still kind of follow them. But they haven't responded. Locked On Nashville and a couple other teams, but it's tough. It's a challenge. And I know that you and Dave really want to do something in the summertime where you're talking to some players, which I think is going to be fantastic, man. I'm really looking forward to that big time.
Yeah, we got a plan we want to try to get some guys in. Maybe it would cost a couple bucks to fly them in Winnipeg because we have the studio in Winnipeg by the airport. So bring them in for an interview. And then Dave has all these hookups, all these golf courses because he's been golfing since before the dinosaurs roamed the earth. Calling some favors, and then we'll end up going golfing together for another cool video. So kind of like a podcast and then like a post-podcast golf video, which I thought would be really cool. And hey, man, don't sweat it a couple no's. Like I ask 1,000 questions. If I get 3 yeses, that's a win. Like I sent a bunch of messages to a couple NHL guys that I used to talk to. I said, hey man, you want to come on the show? I got plenty of no's. I got a couple of yeses, but I got plenty of no's. So don't worry, it happens to all of us.
Yeah. I was trying to get. I reached out to. Oh boy, as soon as his name going to slip my mind now. There's a NHLer right now who does YouTube, and I reached out to him. Let's see if I got him on here real quick. And I haven't heard from him. I figure he's busy life. I know he's been trying to make a team. He's not signed right now. And who's that?
Like Casimir?
No, it's shit. What's his name? Just looking it up real quick. I know it's never good to have dead air, right?
No. I'll keep him busy.
Yeah, I can't remember who it is. I had reached out to him though on Instagram, and he does a whole like vlog series. I was like, you know what? Maybe Brendan Parlini.
Oh, pros, yeah.
I thought it'd be cool to have him on. So I reached out to him, and I say the same thing to kind of everybody. Like I'll introduce myself and say, hey man, like Wayne Gretzky always says, you miss 100% of shots you don't take. So here's mine. Like I just love using that to hockey guys, and it's been pretty receptive for a decent amount. And like I said, I've done a few interviews so far, and they were really nice and kind. I appreciate your time, and because I like you said, you got some free time, which is kind of nice, but then you're going to get bored of shit in your hotel room. I don't know if that's where you're staying right now, but
Airbnb.
Airbnb. There you go. Okay. All right. A little bit of luxury. All right. I like that. So it's just trying to have fun with it, trying to get better at it each show. I usually try and write some questions down. Just to make sure I'm touching at least on something. Chat's always great. Without the chat, at least kind of in this general community, I mean, they're here helping us, and I love the guys that are in the chat right now. It's a lot of good supporters that we see throughout the community, and like I said, they're huge sport fans, so they love just about everything. Although I don't know much about baseball. I'm not a big baseball guy. I try. Tigers, Jays.
Yep.
That's about it. Lions. I've been watching a lot of Lions the last couple years. So that's all, I try to get from there, but hockey's my thing, man. Like that's ultimately what's it. So who you taking? Who you taking for the cup? You going to take Winnipeg? What's your kind of thoughts right now on the league?
Yeah, I'll go with the Jets. I'll go with the Jets until further notice.
What's your thoughts on Edmonton really coming out at a slow start?
I don't know, dude. They come out slow every year. They screw the pooch for a bit, and they ended up making a comeback usually at some point. So I wouldn't count them out quite yet.
What do you think about? Do you collect at all? You a big collector?
I was actually going to say, when I was a kid, so I don't know if anybody remembers these, but so my dad used to collect hockey cards, and when I was 9, McDonald's had the hockey cards collector series in Canada.
Yep.
And so every single year, I think they must have done them for like 4 or 5 more years after that, and they stopped them. But we tried to collect as much as we could. We never got the full sets because the internet kind of stopped us from communicating and like trading with people. And then Tim Hortons came out with the same series. They just picked it up from Upper Deck, I believe. And then with the power of the internet, I joined like little Facebook groups and I tried to like trade people with cards. And I think for the first 5 years, we got every single set. Like we got the full set, every specialty card, base card. Then I went to Sweden and couldn't really collect the cards anymore. And then I told my dad, I was just like, let's stop this because it's so much money, first off. And then I can't buy one pack. If I buy one, I'm going to get the whole set. Right?
Yeah.
I remember this girl I was dating a couple years ago. We go to Tim Hortons. They just released the new cards. And, I get a double-double. She gets a double-double, whatever. And she's like, I'll get 3 packs of hockey cards. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going to get you some cards to get you started. I'm like, no, don't do that. She's like, well, why not? I said, if you get me those, I'm going to buy 1,000. So let's just not even start. Because then I'll be like, well, why would I start? I'm going to buy all these cards. So me and my dad loved that a lot. That was really cool as a kid. Post-practice, going to get a couple of McDonald's small fries because I think you had to buy the fries with the cards.
Yep.
Picking that up on the cards. I was also a chubby child, so it kind of was on brand.
Well, that's what got me into it. It is my dad. He's not so much of a collector anymore, but his basement, we call it Rick's Hockey Hall of Fame. It's absolutely just from floor to ceiling, hockey memorabilia all the way around. A lot of Red Wings stuff since we moved here to the States. It's obviously pretty common, to find that a little bit easier, but he was an avid collector. That's who got me into it. And then him and I put together the 93 McDonald's baseball set when I was a kid. And then he helped me collect 95 Flair Ultra X-Men cards. Because, I was more into, when you're a kid, you kind of bounce all over the place. But that's what I was into. And then him and I got back into it in about 06, 07. And we would go to card shows together. And I've been collecting ever since. It is getting a bit pricey, as many will agree in the chat here. We had the Bedard tax last year and still in a few products this year. But I mainly collect Crosby and Ovi because it's just a huge collection I had already. And so I just started to build off of that. But I love collecting all sorts of players. And, I don't just like a couple guys. I really like a lot of players around the league. I think they're very talented, fun to watch. Including, some Jets guys, Hellebuck, Perfetti. I got a decent amount of Perfettis and, my buddy Sith or Hoser cards, same thing. He's got a huge collection of kind of everybody from around the league. And I think that's what's fun about it. It's just keeping it up. I try and pass it down to my kids as well. They don't seem to be into it as much as I was at their age, but I'm trying real hard. So, I give them a little bit of cards here and there and have them rip with me and, make it fun. I think it'd be great if, once you got into the Fed, if they made some cards for you guys and started a collector series. I don't know if they do that, but I think that'd be pretty sweet to have a hockey card of your own self.
Funny enough, actually, you mentioned that. Probably 2020, some guy reached out and was like, hey, man, I'm doing a graphics design course, whatever. I want to do some hockey cards. Can you send me some cool pictures of yourself? And I'll just try to make some cards. Excuse me. And I said, yeah, sure. So I sent him some pictures. I come home from Sweden. There's this box of hockey cards waiting for me. It's 1,000 hockey cards of myself. And so I messaged him and I was like, dude, these are incredible, but what am I supposed to do with 1,000 cards of myself? And he's like, I don't know. You can sell them if you want. So I started selling them and they were starting to sell. And so I said, hey, can we do a couple more? And so we ended up doing a couple more prints. We had like a hollow set. We had just like a regular printed set. I think it got up to 8 cards at one point. The first original print is totally sold out now. And then we're slowly closing on and selling out the other ones too. So send me afterwards, send me your shipping address and I'll get you out a set of the trading cards.
Dude, seriously? Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, they're cool. There's a hollow printed one from when I was in Sweden, hollow printed from Motor City. There's like some fresh ones from my junior college days. I'd like to get a shiny, like a holographic set from Watertown, Mississippi, Motor City, Vale, and then here in Summit City. But they're a lot of money, and I don't really want to sit on 5,000 cards of inventory. So I think that when these sell out, because I think we're down to, because we had like 1,000 plus sets. I think I'm down to like 100 now, 100 and something before it's all sold out. So after that, there'll be no more. I'll be done with that. But send me your info, and I'll send you out a set.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I think that'd be awesome. I think that'd be fantastic to have that. Start a new PC of Travis. I love it.
There you go, man.
What do you got coming up? You got some games coming up. What's kind of on the schedule? What's it looking like here?
Yeah, so traveling this weekend for a game. Kalkaska, I think, is where we're playing. So we got that. We got 2 games next weekend, 2 games weekend after. I'll be gone for a bit of December. I'll be doing a little bit of traveling for business stuff. Team knows, so that's exciting. Also Christmas time as well. Doing a trip end of January, February. 2 weeks on the train from Vancouver to Winnipeg to Montreal, and then back here, I believe. I got some native cash prize tournaments I'll be playing in too. So like $20,000, $30,000 cash prizes in Alberta, which I'm really, really excited for, especially for the cash prizes we can win. I'll be going back to Colorado at some point to play with the Vale Yeti again. And yeah, there's lots of exciting stuff. The podcast will keep slugging it out every single week, every single Sunday, as we have for coming up on 4 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yep, 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's basically it. The vlog will be a little hit and miss as well, but it'll be up.
And then at some point, if you get the call up, I know that you said on the podcast that you'd be gone in 2 seconds if you get called up to the Fed. Is that the case?
You know what? I was thinking about that this weekend, and I think it depends on the offer at this point. I don't want to sound too egotistical or entitled about it, but at this point, I got a good setup here. I can film whatever I want. The team got me an assistant, so she follows me around everywhere whenever we're playing, which is where the footage is coming from. So it's super easy. Also, she doesn't cost anything because the team takes care of it, which is great. Light workload, so I can focus on working out and business and whatnot, not skating 6 days a week, frying my body on long road trips. So if a team called, it would have to be a decent offer, or I think I'd say no to that. Because if I'm going down for $50 to go sit on the bench for 2 weeks, I'm good. And no cameras, no thank you.
Yeah. Oh, they don't allow you to record.
Depends.
Okay.
It depends on what they would say, right? Like I have to talk with them and see what they say, but yeah, that'd be the plan.
No kidding. Well, I'm hoping you get it, bro. I'm hoping you get it because you have such a passion and determination. Like I really hope that you get it. I do.
Like I was saying earlier, though, man, that your goals will change direction as you go. The original goal was to go to the Fed, to go play, to win a backup job, win a starting job, become dominant, maybe get a call up to the SP. That never happened, and now it's kind of shaping places, and I'm over here, and now I'm getting opportunities, post-retirement endeavors, the podcast is taking off, and I didn't think I'd be in this position 2 years ago, so I'm happy that I'm here. I'm happy that it's going this way.
What could you give us for a fun story? Like I said, I won't keep you long, keep you about another 9 minutes. What's like a fun story that you could share with the audience? What's like your best memory so far of the last couple years playing?
PG or not PG?
You know what?
You want spicy?
Yeah, we can do spicy. I'm not monetized or anything like that. And if I got a strike, it is what it is.
So I have to come clean. This isn't my story. This is a story from a different goalie. But so this is in the Fed, starting goalie for the night. He goes to play. They're on the road, gets yanked, 4 goals in like 8 shots, 9 shots. Tough night. First period out. See you later. They're down 4-0. And there was this girl that was on the side of the glass that was like banging on the glass, like, "Hey, you suck, whatever." And then he was ignoring her. And then you can only ignore them so much when they're like right beside you. You're sitting on the end of the bench. So he takes a banana and just throws it over the bench or like over the glass just to be like F off, right? She takes the banana, writes her phone number on it, slides it through the hole in the glass. He takes it, gets the phone number, texts her, then she comes back to the team accommodations later that evening, which I thought was kind of funny. So although he didn't get the win, he did get a good story out of it, and that's why we all do this, for great stories, right?
Well, we call those puck bunnies, right? That's what they're called.
We called her Little Miss Yellow Banana, but I got lots of stories like that.
That's a good one. What about man? You said Matt Murray. Who's like a guy that you're pretty good friends with that's in the show right now?
Honestly, probably at this point in time, just Matt. Like Matt's somebody where I could confidently say, like, if I needed something, I could text him, I get a response back in a pretty timely fashion. If he needs something, I always get back to him. Funny enough, even though he's an NHL goalie and I'm a goalie as well, you think that that's something that we have in common. We're, he's from Thunder Bay, I'm from Winnipeg, which is basically the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We, for the most part, we talk a lot of business, a lot of like man stuff, a lot of money. Like we talk a lot about money and business and trying to create wealth and different ideas and stuff like that. That's probably most of the things that we talk about.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you got to think about the future in the end for you both, right? I mean, his NHL career isn't going to go on forever, and
well, yeah, like my
so
mindset around that was, I remember we were talking about money one day, and I thought, okay, so he's getting to a level where I would never even be able to grasp. So clearly he knows something that I don't, because I haven't been able to get to that level and he has. So maybe if I can ask some questions, I can get closer to the money and find out something that I don't know to get closer to that setup. And then applying that theory to other people that, you know, I've met in my life of, okay, in the last year, specifically year and a bit, of, okay, what do you know that I don't know? Because clearly you know something that's making you more successful than I am. So tell me what that is, and I want to try to gather that information. So but to answer your question, I would consider Matt probably one of my best friends, very close friend, very close guy. Very lucky to have him in my life. I don't know if you heard the podcast that him and I did, but he changed my life for the better. So I'll forever be thankful and indebted to him for that. Other show guys, I don't really talk to a lot of show guys, just like messages here and there, like, hey man, how's things going? Good, hope you're well. Hey, cool video. Hey, great performance. Just stuff like that. Nobody too close like that. To be honest with you, I have a very small group of friends. I only have like 4 or 5, maybe 3 to 5 good friends. That's about it. Everybody else is just an acquaintance, and if you're an acquaintance, that's it.
No, same.
Keep it small, dude.
Same. Yeah,
I don't want too many influences penetrating the castle. That makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. I mean, obviously I'm pretty tied up, you know, wife, 5 kids, and that's my life, right? So I appreciate you coming on, and you know, it means a lot to a small channel like myself. You, again, keep it going on the main channel. Trav for Oilers. Look him up, sub to him. He's almost at 100,000. Let's get him that play button. I know it's coming soon. Not that that's hugely important to you, but I think it's a great goal, great achievement to accomplish.
That's
when
the
you're
Stanley
doing
Cup for every YouTuber when we start. That's what you want to get.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, definitely check out Slangin The Bizkit Podcast, him and Dave Wheeler. Dave Wheeler's amazing. You guys got to check these two out. They have awesome chemistry together. I'm going to give a quick shout out to the chat. Just everyone's been so cool, just kind of chatting back and forth. I usually do it at the beginning, but I'll kind of do it towards the end. Just give him a little shout out. Uncanny Swag. I'm actually on a show with him and Spine Ticks. And Dave C. Yeah, I'm on a show on Saturday night with those guys. We talk comics, hockey. We got a little sports segment in there. He does a great job. Sith is the guy who hosts it. He's absolutely amazing. But we got Logan's on there too. I just saw Logan. I didn't see him for a second there. Logan's on there as well. We have a great time on Saturday nights at 11 p.m. But Budget Rips, thanks for coming out. Barry, Logan, Swag, Robert Spring, Sports Card Ripping Teacher. He's a great guy. He's a educator, and we can't thank educators enough for what they do with our kids. Dave C. Yeah, Dave Campbell, huge hockey fan, great guy. Lon Espinoza, Barry is amazing, such a nice guy, positive, very positive guy. Hammy and Son, appreciate you coming out. Hoser Cars, of course. Just scrolling up here, making sure. Paul, my best friend, hockey bro, can't forget him. I know he's listening. I know he's dealing with the kiddos right now too. Let me scroll up here, making sure I don't forget anyone. Travis, that way we give him a little bit of love. Canadian Card Breakers, thank you so much for coming out. Good guy in the community. Sent me a really nice couple Sidney Crosby cards. That video will be dropping soon. And I think I hit everybody. Just making sure. But if you haven't checked him out before, definitely go check out Slangin The Bizkit Podcast with Travis Ridgen.
Oh, it's just me now.
Myself out of the studio.
There we go.
Go check out Slangin The Bizkit Podcast. You guys will love it. Check out Trav's actual channel. He's almost at 100K. Definitely make sure that you give him a sub up. He's a great guy. Appreciate him being here. And you guys have a great night. Thank you.